The following is an exclusive production of Minuteman Command. The Flagship Pod with your hosts, ESPN personalities Mike Corey and Rene Ingoglia, is on the air. Brought to you by Todd Fritz Roofing, with insight and info from UMass and MAC insiders. From the Command Studios, here are your hosts, Mike and Rene.
All right, here we are. What's going on, man?
I mean, how close are we, right? A couple weeks.
I know,
man.
This is the last episode of the Afro. I'm getting my hair cut in a couple days, so
I was watching McAfee today, and they were giving AJ Hawk crap because he's growing his hair out. So I guess you're doing the same thing. You're not going to go with that hairdo for the season. You're going to get a cut.
No, I'm going with a little longer look, but I mean, that's definitely got to get cut down a little bit. It's a lot.
Yeah, it's just man, during football season, every 3 weeks, it's just so easy when you travel. I don't care. I'm old. I'm married. Been married forever. I'm not trying to impress anyone. It's all about ease and comfort for me.
Well, you still got to take care of yourself. Look, how about this picture of us 4 years ago today?
Airboat. I took you on an airboat here in Florida. Saw some gators.
Look at our hair there. Look
snakes.
Look at you.
I look a little skinnier in that picture, but I've been lifting. Yeah. I bought a new sports coat. I'm going to just so people know, our assignments at ESPN technically have come out, but they're not official, so we can't say anything. Right. Although I can say very busy start to the season, which I am very happy about because I love working. But I went and got a new sports coat that I'm going to wear for one of the games.
Okay.
And it was kind of thick. The lady's like, it fits good. I go, yeah, well, a little tight in the shoulders, but, it's all good.
I am not in game shape. I'll tell you that. I don't think I would be in the next 3 weeks either. But I got to start working on it.
It's fitting. You're about to bring in our special guest, and we tried to get him earlier, but he did me a favor by delaying because I got a workout in. So that's going to make him happy. Got a little Peloton in. So without further ado, Mike, bring in our guest.
Yeah, let's bring in George Greene. So the official title, the Director of High Performance Head Football Sports Performance Coach, working with, of course, the UMass football team. George, what's up, man? How are you?
Good. How you doing, guys? Appreciate you guys having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. I know.
George, I was going to say, George, I'm old. So, when I played, it was just strength coach or strength coach and conditioning. Now you got these fancy titles. But in all seriousness, George, it just goes to show, right, where it's evolved, that the position that you have and how important it is, because I don't think people realize you're probably throughout the year, you're probably in touch with players more than any other coach.
Yeah, yes, sir. So we're around these guys what feels like 24/7, right? From what we do at practice to what we do, obviously, in the weight room, on the field, winter workouts, summertime, and obviously year-round training. Like, these guys are always here. So, your impact, I believe, as a strength and conditioning coach goes far beyond the weight room walls, from nutrition to how these guys take care of their bodies outside the facility. So it's an unbelievable group. I'm fortunate to be here and super thankful for the opportunity that Coach H has presented me with.
So perfect segue. Mike and I were talking about, obviously we researched and we met you, George, up to the spring game and got to talk to you. But for the UMass fans that maybe don't know you and have heard the name George Greene for the first time, just kind of give us a rundown. Where'd you grow up? Where'd you go to school? And how did you come to where you are at UMass now? For those who don't know, you've been there before. So kind of give us the rundown of all that good stuff.
Yep. So I grew up on Long Island, so it's not far away. Went to Springfield College, just down the road here in Massachusetts. They had an unbelievable strength and conditioning program there. I fell in love, really. The weight room was always my safe haven. So for me, it was as a kid, I fell in love with training. Did not know that was a career till I got to Springfield, and they have one of the best strength and conditioning programs in the country, undergrads and master's program. And so, from there, that's really where I fell in love with it. So from Springfield, I went out to Iowa. From Iowa, I actually came here to UMass as an intern. Went and worked shortly in the private sector. Came back to UMass. Was 23, 24 years old. Coach O, who you referenced before the show started, gave me my first opportunity to be a full-time strength coach. Was here for about 3 years. Went and trained the Special Forces down in North Carolina. From there, I had my first opportunity to be a head strength coach down in Virginia at Division III school, University of Mary Washington. From there, I went to Stony Brook, where I spent 9 years, and then obviously I'm here now. Got here in December, and we've hit the ground running. So I've really come full circle, literally back to Massachusetts. So thrilled to be here.
Yeah,
I
that's
know Mike's got a question for you about Coach O, but before that, real quick, did you have a prior relationship with Coach Harasimiak, or how did that evolve?
Yeah, so Coach H and I have known each other for a long time. We actually graduated from Springfield together, so I've known him for a long time, and he's an unbelievable person, leader, and coach. So this is an opportunity that my family and I were thrilled to join him in.
Yeah, so now we were talking. So, Rene, your strength and conditioning coach was Coach O, right? Back when
Bob Otrando, legendary. I think, and George, you can correct me. I think he got to UMass in '93, which would have been like my redshirt sophomore year when I first met Coach O.
Yep, exactly.
And George, tell us this story, because don't you have like a picture of him outside your in your office or something like that? What's the deal there?
Yeah, so the office door and the two offices that we have here, my office and then the office for my staff, his photo was on it, and it was donated by an alum in honor of him. So he's he's a legend, right? He gave me, I'm forever grateful for him. Gave me my first opportunity. So it's honestly surreal in some ways being back here. And walking in here as an intern and having no idea what this place was, and really it's not that long ago, to see what it's evolved to is honestly incredible.
How about in the field overall? Give me like your take from way back to where you are now, and then how much different it is, and how much more important I think it is if people understand like the role that you have and that you're helping these players
and the science of it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, ton of research and science, and I think at the end of the day, like a lot of the tried and true principles remain the same. Like you got to be really strong, like, and that's always been the case. Like our guys, we clean, we squat, we bench, we do a lot of the things that you traditionally have seen in college weight rooms across the country. That's never changed. Like if you go back to the research, then you look at it now, being strong is always a positive thing. Like we're always chasing that. I think the biggest evolution you've seen is the impact and how that stretches across really everything from how you prepare for practice, how you prepare for games, what we do in terms of a preparation standpoint in the summer, from a conditioning and a speed standpoint is solely based on what our demands are in practice. And we use Catapult and GPS tracking in order to calculate what we need to do in order to best prepare for things like camp or spring ball. So it's the field work, the speed sessions, things like that. You're heavily involved in a lot of the things that impact their day to day, right? So nutrition now has evolved so much. Like, that's been a huge addition from Coach H from day one. That's been something he's preached. Like we really needed to change, and our administration have been super supportive. We got the #1 dining hall in the country here that we take full advantage of in providing those resources to our guys. And it's an edge. It's a competitive advantage. Like we want our guys to be bigger, faster, stronger. We need to fuel them properly in order to do that. So those things I think are where the evolution has really, over the course of the last 15 or 16 years, it's every detail that matters. Like you're treating them like professional athletes.
You brought back the glory days, George, when he talked about power cleans, because Coach O really implemented that and taught us how to do them. And I tell people all the time, as an athlete, I don't care what sport it is, if I was going to pick one lift that I could only do one lift for the rest of my life, it'd be the power clean. So,
yeah,
for sure.
No question. And they still love them, and we still love them. So,
George, is everybody wearing a tracker? Like, do you literally have everybody on this thing and like the results just come up into the computer?
The Catapult, right? They wear it around their chest.
Correct. Yep. So you'll see it's like a sports bar looking undershirt that goes underneath their pads. Small device goes into the back, and it tracks a ton of different metrics for us. Two most important ones. One is player load, which really tracks a little bit of everything. That gives us a quantification of like how hard the practice was. And then we look at high speed distances, which for us, like our skill position players, that's an important number that we pay close attention to. We wanted to hit a lot of those targets in the summer in terms of preparation. But yeah, pretty much every guy in our team is wearing a unit and in each position group. And we look at it every single day after practice. We try and make projections on what we should target over the course of the week. And it's an extremely useful tool across the board from how athletes are returning to practice. I'd say that's one of the best additions for those devices is what their baseline is, and then what they need to get to. So when a kid is returning, maybe they're out 2 or 3 weeks, you can gradually build them up and not guess, right? So the technology has allowed you to do so much more, in calculated decision making.
So in meetings, like with Coach Harasimiak, like during camp, let's say, Does he talk to you and you say, hey, they can go harder. We were at a certain level this practice. I mean, you can be that specific with it, right?
Yeah, the data really helps. I think you always go back to, like, Coach H has unbelievable feel and instinct, and he's got the staff here is unbelievable. These guys are pros, and so the instinct and feel really most of the time is pretty accurate. And a lot of times the data is kind of telling you, like, okay, like, we've probably done a lot, and you can probably see it in their faces, right? Or you know what, they're ready for us to really ramp this up. They're like, these guys are itching, they're sleeping good, you could tell. So it gives you a lot of good information. A lot of it you kind of already have awareness to. But our coaches are awesome, and those conversations happen often to make the adjustments needed so you can get through training camp the right way. So,
how many people do you have working with you to monitor and track all this with everybody and making sure that everybody's doing the right thing?
So I have two full-time assistants on my staff, Coach Ibn Foster and Coach Jeff Stern. Both guys are unbelievable. I look at it like, their backgrounds, their skill sets, what they bring to the table is I can't even quantify it. And so across the board, from everything we do, they're involved at the highest level. So those two guys are awesome. And, from nutrition to the catapult stuff and what we're doing from a tracking and a training standpoint, it's essential that you have a crew around you. And we've been fortunate to get some really, really good interns with local universities. Springfield's obviously right down the street. Our kinesiology program here on campus, we've been able to get quite a few students who have interest in getting involved. And you're hoping that you can develop the next generation of coaches. Like without Coach O giving me an opportunity, I would not be sitting here, right? So like if you could be an entryway for those people, they help you in so many ways to be able to do a lot of the things that you want to do, across the board without worrying about, okay, we don't have 25 staff members in here, right? So, yeah.
Well, I have a degree in kinesiology, and I've done absolutely nothing with it. So maybe I'll come up and intern for you next season, George. What the hell?
I saw you had a polo on. I can see you still got it.
Yeah,
George. Yeah. Hey, you mentioned Coach H a bunch. He had some kind things to say about you and your staff. We're going to listen to that. I want you to listen to it as well, and we'll comment on it on the other side.
I feel great. I was actually joking with Coach Belcher that our quarterbacks have like arms now. AJ's gonna love this. He can do push-ups now, which is great. But just what Coach Greene has done, and Coach Foster and Coach Stern down there, and it's evidence. Like we used it in recruiting. The before and after pictures, and a lot of that also comes to with the nutrition change that we've made here. And again, credit to the administration and all those people that allowed us to go ahead and do that. They were eating on their own here. They were going out to campus to eat. That's just not Division I football, right? So now we have 2 meals in here every day, and it just shows you when you invest in something, and they see the results. And back to kind of he asked me about special teams. You guys asked me how we looking. If you go in the weight room for one day and you look yourself in the mirror, there's no change. And a lot of people at that point, week one, day one, they give up because they want immediate results. That's just not how life works, right? And from that standpoint, we've actually talked about how the weight room is just like your ability as a player. Day one, you probably won't notice a lot. But since February 1st, whatever that date that we started, there's a lot of change. But, the speeds are probably the thing that I'm impressed with the most just from the data that we get. And but ultimately what Coach Greene has done over the summer has been really impressive. He's the mechanic, right? Your body's your car. He's the mechanic, and take care of your body.
Love it. You're a mechanic, George. I love it.
It's a great nickname.
Yeah.
Mechanic. These guys give me a hard time now, but I appreciate that.
The speed. Listen, we've heard a lot from a bunch of different people that have been out to camp, and that's the one thing that they've all noticed, that they just seems like everyone's faster. But you have the facts that back it up. So from spring in your data to now, is it a faster team?
Yeah, so I think a lot of the things we talked about, right? We talked about nutrition. We talked about what we're emphasizing in terms of sleep, the different areas we've invested in. I think speed is a critical component to obviously being a great football player. And you have to invest time in that area in order to be successful. So we started in the winter really from the get-go addressing that. I think a lot of times in the winter, people focus a lot of their attention on conditioning, doing things like mat drills, things like that in preparation, which have a place. But I think in that time of year, the priority's got to be strength and preparing for spring ball. And in order to do that, you got to spend time in the weight room and you got to spend time on the field doing speed work that's going to help you get prepared for the high speed yardage you're going to have in the spring. Remember, you're only playing 3 days a week. So from the get-go, we invested a ton of time into really some basic, simple speed developments to work starting in the winter. We progressed that into the start of spring ball. And then in this summer, we really got after it. And I give a lot of credit to Coach Stern, who's got a great background with on-field work, speed work. I'd say he's probably the best demo guy in the country. And I think our guys execute at a high level watching him. And Coach Foster, a bigger guy, was a D lineman at Albany. He does an unbelievable job with the bigger guys. So I think we've invested across the board with our skill guys, our big guys, our mids, really pushing them to become better athletes first and foremost, right? And I think the weight room does that, but I think the field ultimately transfers the strength from what you do in the room onto the field of play, onto the football field. So we've invested a great deal of time in it. Our guys have bought into it. I think if you watched us compete, if you watched us work out, if you watched us condition, lift, I think our intent is very, very good. And so one of the first conversations I had with the team is the best program you're doing is the one you're doing right now. Right. So if you are intentional about every rep, every set, every single thing you do when we're on the field or in the weight room, you're going to get better. I promise you. You got to trust in us. You got to run through the smoke a little bit here. You don't know us. We're gonna pour into you guys, and they've really done that. So it's really all of the things, the results. Guys getting bigger, stronger, faster is a direct reflection on their buy-in from the beginning, and a great program looks even better when you have athletes who do it at the highest level and work as hard as possible. And I think if you came and watched the session, I think you'd really see that from 105.
Yeah, I want to get onto the nutrition side of things before we let you go, because you'll hear it all day long, every day of people, it's what you eat. It's most important. You got to work out. Yeah. Well, break that down for us. Tell us about how this is better now with these guys in terms of the nutrition and how you work with them on what they need to be doing and how important it is. Just in general, right? I mean, let's hopefully some of the fans can pick up something from what you're saying about, what we're doing or not doing that could help us. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no question. I think one of to me, it's a good to great thing, right? Freshman comes in here, a red shirt, you put them on a weight training program, they're going to get better no matter what you do, right? An elite athlete, to me, the next level to get a kid who's really almost there, who's fast, who's strong, maybe who's been in a weight program for 3 or 4 years, is nutrition, sleep, hydration, and the high performance habits they do outside of your building. And I think nutrition is a huge critical pillar to that. And I would add mental skills, mental performance as another key layer to that. And getting athletes to understand that how much they truly need to eat is probably first and foremost, right? There's studies done on football players to gauge caloric expenditure. We've showed this to our guys. But our offensive and defensive linemen are burning 6,000 plus calories every single time they're walking in our building from training. That's like their baseline caloric needs, not at one practice across the day. Sure. That's a full-time job. That's a lot of food. To sit there and have to eat that, you have to be diligent, consistent, and it's as intentional with that as you are with your training.
It just not to interrupt you there, but to the average person, right? Yeah. 2,000 calorie diet or whatever that is.
Yeah, average person probably should not listen to the 6,000 recommendation. But it's a challenge. It's a challenge. So, and these guys have really bought into that. And the biggest thing I think people don't realize about it being a college athlete is they walk into this building, they have meetings, they have treatment, they have lift, they have practice. The meals in our building are a game changer, obviously from the quality of the food that we have. But if these guys don't have it in the building and they're going to the dining hall, forget about the decision-making process. They might have 30 minutes to wait in line, eat, get something to eat. Now they're grabbing a slice of pizza and they're leaving. You know what I mean? So from a time management standpoint, it's a game changer. From making sure we provide them with what they need is a game changer. So Coach Foster on my staff, he oversees the fueling station. We have a fueling station in the weight room. It's got pretty much anything you could ever imagine in there in order for them to be able to fuel their bodies properly outside of the meals we give them. So we make them smoothies every single day after every session. He's got recipes for weight gain guys, weight loss guys, whatever the case might be. It's got whey protein, collagen, different supplements, things like that these guys have. We have yogurts, they have cereal, they make peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. It's a kitchen in our facility, and these guys live in here. So we feed them, we make sure they're properly fueled post-workout. Their snacks are high level in our facility. So we wanted to fill every single gap possible that these guys had throughout the course of their day with high quality foods. And I think that's probably the biggest change we've made in terms of the physical appearance of the players. And I correlate back to nutrition. Like, our body composition is better. Our team average body weight is significantly higher. And when you compare that with the speeds and the other factors, I think it's really blending all these different areas together and making sure they're all working. So there's no stone left unturned for each of our guys.
George, I got to ask you this. Is there a specific player or two or position group that's really impressed you, whether speed, strength, anything like that you've said, man, this group really looks good, or this player really looks good?
Yeah, I it's hard because I genuinely mean this. Like, this is the best group I've ever been around in terms of the human beings, character, work ethic. It's hard for me to single out really any one guy. We obviously we track speed. We had a couple of guys in the 21 mile an hour club. TJ McGee's a guy I'd mentioned, defensive back, who's a 22 plus mile an hour guy. So, we give these guys speeding tickets if they go over 20 miles an hour, and, ticket in the school zone. And so those are guys. That's a guy that obviously he stands out with the highest top speed for us. But I could go down the line. I really don't even like to call out, one or two guys, because, to be honest with you, like, it was a collective effort this whole summer. We have some guys that have done some unbelievably impressive things. Brock Taylor, offensive lineman, young guy. There's probably some videos circulating on Twitter. 620 plus squat, looks literally like he's got 135 pounds on his back. So, big, strong guy with a big squat, a speed guy. Like, there's so many guys in between that I could point out that it'd be hard. I mean, we'd spend the entire time here talking about these guys. So,
George, what I love hearing about from yourself, the coaching staff, the coordinators that we talked to earlier, it's just like everything you're doing is helping the player achieve greatness and be better served. You know what I mean? It's like and I hear the buy-in. It's like, well, yeah, the buy-in, because all these different things you guys are doing is just making them better, not just on the field, on and off the field, right? And it's like, before you didn't have any of this stuff, then if the coach is like, oh, you got to run, you got to do this, like, some guys like, what the hell is this all about? From what you're just talking about, solely in strength, nutrition, all that, everybody should want to be a part of that. You know what I mean? So it's like that's damn important, and it sounds like you really do have everybody on that same page wanting to be better. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it starts with Coach H, honestly. Like, the way he educates these guys on every aspect of what we do and across the board, whether it's football or just, the things he allows me to talk to these guys about, nutrition, sleep, things like that. Like, he doesn't, he creates the environment for the people in this building to do their best work, from coaches to players. That's genuine. So, like, I think that's why you feel that across the board.
Listen, there's no doubt. I got to UMass in 1991, so I'm pretty vested. I've watched this program since then. There's a commitment level here all around that I don't think's ever really been there. You've talked about a bunch of it today. And as a fan now, because I'm a fan too, we just hope it shows with results on the field. And I am so optimistic about this season. And, we love having you on, George. Thanks so much for sharing your insights with us, your wisdom. George Greene, Director of High Performance, Head Football Sports Performance Coach. August 30th will be here before you know it. Good luck against Temple, George. Thanks for joining us, brother.
Thank you, guys. Yep, means a lot. Thanks for having me on.
You got it.
That's awesome, man. Yeah. Look, I mean, you're
we
right.
could have kept talking for like another 30 minutes, but
I mean, it's an incredible field. It's really, you got to have it. I mean, you just heard Harris Sibiak on that press conference. Like, they weren't even doing this. Like,
the nutrition. Listen,
hey, have at it, figure it out. We'll see you back here for practice.
If you're a Division I football program, you have to have nutritional. You have to have a nutrition table. So he got that and implemented. This is about the buy-in. We didn't have it before. Just a simple thing like the smoothies, right? It's a big deal. So the little things they didn't have before makes a big difference. And then, you get a strength and conditioning guy like George Greene. The knowledge, look, he gave us his rundown where he was, right? Yeah. You take all that experience, but he's still a young, energetic guy. He's got a staff under him. He's not doing it by himself.
Right.
And it turns into results in terms of strength, speed. Now, like all of us, it needs to show up on Saturdays, right? And so I really believe it's gonna this year. I do. I've never been more optimistic than I am this year. So I'm excited, man. I am so excited.
Me too. Every time we talk to another staff member, another guy that's helping move this team along, it's like you could just feel the sense of pride and how much they really care. And it almost feels like they've been here longer than they have been. You know what I mean? It's like
they hit the ground running for sure.
Yeah.
But that's, to me, that's Coach H. He was a head coach before, right? So he has that experience. Then he was a coordinator, a couple major programs, right? So he brings that knowledge in, but he's still 38, 39, and he's still a young guy, right? And listen, I'm not knocking on any of the other coaching staffs because it's been well documented. The other coaching staffs that have been at UMass since the transition, they didn't have the support and backing that they needed. Okay. They didn't have the money. They didn't have the things they needed. So they all kind of had an arm behind their back. All right. With that said, this staff, the page has been turned. The commitment is more fully there. There's absolutely no doubt about it. You're back in the MAC. The time is now. There's no doubt about it. So I'm excited to see what this team can do for sure.
No, you're either in or you're out. And, we were not in before. Now we are in. So I'm looking forward to it as well. We got a lot of really good guests coming up, too, throughout the next month here as we get ready for the start of the season. So next week, Ryan Bamford, athletic director, is going to join us. That's going to be on Wednesday, August 20th. The following week, game week. Yep, Wednesday, August 27th, Jay Burnham, voice of the Minutemen on radio and TV. He'll be joining us on the 27th. And then we're efforting to get Coach Harasimiak for the following week so we can get his comments after game one. That'll be on Wednesday.
Hopefully after a big win.
Yeah, exactly. Hopefully after a big win. So a lot of really good stuff coming up. And, man, every time we just keep getting more encouraged, So I look forward to seeing what Ryan has to say next week. That'll be great, so don't miss out on that.
Yeah, and let's close the showdown today. The AP poll came out this week. So I think we got that. We can put that up and kind of talk about that. Only one, and Mike's got one of his kitty cats in the frame.
Yeah,
it's Oliver. Mike's a cat guy. I'm a dog guy, so there you go. But, looking at the top AP top 25, Mike, only one group of 6 program is in there, and you see it at 25, Boise State. Oh, by the way, you and I, Mike, we opened up with Boise State last year.
Yeah.
It's interesting. So they opened the season at USF. So they go across the country to Tampa. You want to talk about a starting schedule for USF in the American? They get Boise State at home on Thursday. What's that? The 28th, okay? 25th ranked. Then USF goes to where's Florida on there? Where's Florida? I know they're on there. So they go to then they go to number 15, Florida. 15, and then the next week they go to number 10, Miami. How about those 3 games for USF?
Yeah.
But I digress. So Boise State's the only group of 6 school in that top 25, and then it's in there. You see the others receiving votes. I highlighted it. Tulane's the next one up, 23 receiving votes. UNLV, 21. Toledo in the MAC, 13. You got James Madison, 9 out of the Sun Belt. Memphis, 9 out of the American. Liberty, 5 out of CUSA. And then you got Navy, 5 out of the American. Army, 2 out of the American. Louisiana out of the Sun Belt, 1. So I got a feeling, keep an eye on Navy. I've talked about them, but man, you love to see some of these group of 6 programs jump into this top 25 and AP top 25. But we've talked about it forever. The media puts this poll out, and it's like, okay, what are we basing it on, though? You know what I mean? So,
well, look, this year I get it with Archman and all that stuff. Texas is number 1. But prior to that, every year I feel like Texas always enters in the top 25 in like 15 or higher just because it's Texas. Like, no matter how good they really are. I mean, I can't stand them because then it's like, you have to lose 2 or 3 or 4 to get pushed out. Everybody else has got to work their ass off. You know what I mean?
Well,
to get in. I get it. They're not the same.
And we talked with Rich Clark, the director of the college football playoff, at our ESPN seminar, and they talk about their college football ranking doesn't happen until November. But my argument is those people on the committee, when they sit down, they base what they start. They say, "Oh, we watch the games and we use our metrics," but they still base it on something. And this is the poll it gets based on, right?
Yeah, I know.
So
It's got to start somewhere. This is
look how high. Remember, I think Florida State was ranked, I think, 10th last year to start the season based on their undefeated season the year before. They're not even receiving votes, right? I don't even think they're they have 8 votes. They're in the receiving votes. But my point is there's someone in here that in this top 25 that's going to be long gone. And I know you had mentioned earlier when we talked, you were like, where did Illinois come from? So I did Illinois in the Camping World Bowl. They beat South Carolina, who's right behind them at 13, and they have their quarterback, Luke Altmaier, back. They got a lot of good players coming back. So Illinois is a team to watch. I think 12 is right for them. The other one I like is Clemson at 4. I do think that's a proper preseason ranking for Clemson at 4. But you know what? We'll see how it plays out. And a lot of these teams, we talked about it, have quarterbacks that transferred in. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I'd like to see if Illinois can keep that up, throughout the season, that high ranking. That's what, like, in Arizona State right there too, number 11. A couple, not say outliers, but ones you're not as used to in that.
Because they're bringing a lot back, including a quarterback, and they won the Big 12 last year after being picked last in the poll. So
you don't even
we know where UMass was picked in the MAC. So listen, I'm just excited to get this thing started. And hopefully you guys are enjoying this podcast. Mike told you the guests we have coming on. And so, we're just going to try to bring you guys good content and follow this UMass ride all season. And hopefully it's a fun one. Hopefully we're not on here bitching and griping, right?
No, it's not. One last comment, though, you said about the top 25. Like the preseason polls for every conference, that doesn't mean shit because it doesn't matter. It's about results. The actual top 25, though, that does give everybody a starting point. You know what I mean? In terms of your ranking. So that kind of does mean something because
to my point, you could be 22, 23, 24 and be a really good team, really be a top 10 team. But because you started so low, it's hard to pass up a bunch of teams. So that's why the committee, listen, at the end of the day, and I know everyone gets mad at this, and it came up in our seminar. My wife and I were just talking about this today because we were watching that SEC Any Given Saturday. I don't know if you've seen. There's a Netflix out. Really good. Any of those, it's really good. And we were watching it. People forget, okay, whether you agree with it or not. The one charge that the committee has, the College Football Playoff Committee, okay. The 5 highest ranked conference champions go in. We know that, okay? Yep. Then the next 7th highest ranked teams, how are they supposed to rank those teams? It's based their charges to put the best teams in, not the ones that are most deserving. It's the best teams. Now they can use whatever metric they want, okay? But it's the 7 best teams, not the best records, not the most deserving, the 7 best teams. So to me, in my opinion, you have to weigh strength of schedule really, really heavy because let's be honest, and I'm not talking about teams last year, but we all know you can have a team that's 11-1, okay, and a team that's 9-2, and we could watch their body of work and who they played all year long, and we could all sit there and say the 9-2 team's better. So that 9-2 team needs to go ahead of the 11-1 team if they are legitimately better. But listen, that's what makes this great because there's a committee involved, there's fans involved, there's schedules involved that it's hard to, maybe people think their strength of schedule is better. It's just there's a lot of stuff that goes into it, but that's why we love college football.
Well, at least there's multiple teams that get in now. You know what I mean? I'm sorry, but 4 to me that sucked.
It's 12. And listen. Like we can do a whole podcast on it. Yeah. I can tell you, and I'm not speaking out of turn because all the 4 major commissioners have talked about it. 3 of the 4 want the 5 highest ranked champions, and then 11 at-large bids that the committee picks. The Big Ten does not want that. Tony Petitti, they want automatics, but the other 3 conferences don't. And at the end of the day, it's the SEC and the Big Ten that have to agree to make that decision. So I think we're going to be at an impasse. We're going to stay at 12, but eventually I think we need to get to 16.
we'll be talking more about it, I'm sure, down the road. But all right, good one this week.
Good stuff.
We will see you next week with UMass Athletic Director Ryan Bamford. That's on Wednesday, August 20th. Until then, have a great week. See you next time.
See you.